Alright, welcome to my channel. I'm Incarnate, and in this video I will create a species for a multiplayer session later today, which I will also record. So we will go to new game and create a new civilization. It will not be human. So I'm actually not sure what I will go with, but since human in multiplayer is kind of sucks because others might choose it also, and it's kind of weird to find other humans halfway across the galaxy, in my opinion. So I will take aliens and hope that no one takes the same aliens as me. Maybe turtles. Like these guys here, space turtles. They are pretty cool. This is... okay, this is the name of the species. I think I will randomly generate one because I'm not very good at these names. But who can think of that? They had professionals think of these names, so I'm just gonna roll here until one strikes my fancy. No. Okay, this could take a while. Well, they are kind of repetitive, so I don't know how many there are. This is not bad. Netraxi. We are the Netraxi. Yeah, why not? Why not? Okay. The Netraxi. So let's look at name lists here. One option is obviously to go with human names, so you can just safely pronounce all of them, but maybe something more befitting aliens. I think I'm gonna skip the name list for now until I know what our species is about, so I can choose a language that kind of fits the character. Yeah, let's go to traits. So these are the traits of our primary species. They can be altered by genetically engineering in like the mid game, but they are pretty constant. So they are kind of important. On the other hand, they are just the traits of like the pops and the leaders, and if we integrate other empires later on and other species move to our planets or something, they are not hugely important after all. For example, Industrious doesn't give our empire plus 15% minerals. It only does that in the early game because that's like the only situation where you don't have any space mining and you only have your pops working the mines on the surface of your home planet. Later on, when different pops work the mines, you can obviously just put the turtles on the mineral mines to get this bonus, but you will have a lot of other mineral sources as well, so it's not forever. So in my opinion, the 2 points is a bit steep for it, considering I'd not want yeah, it's only helpful in the early game. On the other hand, it's very, very helpful in the early game, so I kind of understand why it's expensive. I like going for things that are only 1 point, but in the instance of these turtles, I think it would be cool to make them at least enduring. Let me see where it is. Enduring means they live longer. Oh, enduring is only 1 point. Okay, so there's a better version of enduring, venerable, which lets them live 120 years longer. That means their lifespan is about like almost tripled, I'd say, because when they are like 70 to 80 or something, normally there is a mean time to happen that they die, and the older they get, the more the higher the chance gets that they die. But in this case, if they are venerable, it takes 120 years more until there's even a slightest chance of them dying of old age. That could be cool. It would mean that we wouldn't worry very much about changing our leaders. We'd have to recruit good ones and skill them up and just keep them around. But to be able to spend 4 points, we'd need to get 2 more points. We only have 2 points right now. So this is only possible if we take 2 bad traits. Like decadent here, their resource output without slaves is lowered. This is kind of weird. If you make a slavers race of fanatical collectivists, everyone is completely fine with being a slave, so decadent is basically a free point in that instance, because you can just enslave them all. I'm not gonna do that though. That's not for me. That sounds like a pretty easy thing to do, and I don't need to have it easy. Well, this is... I don't think this fits our turtles. In my opinion, turtles are rather nomadic and not sedentary. Weak turtles, I don't know, I mean, they have their... maybe solitary turtles. That's kind of fitting. Turtles are solitary, or at least there are kinds of turtles who are. Yeah, solitary turtles. Slow learners. Well, if we make our leaders live a long time, they will level up after all, even if they are slow learners, but I still think this kind of sucks. I mean, we want to have strong leaders, not dumb ones. Slow breeders. Now that one also is a steep penalty, but I don't think we can go past this turtle icon. It's so cute. We will have to do it. Slow breeding space turtles. Okay. Now, as you see, we have our 4 points, but we can only pick 2 traits. So we could pick 2 traits with 2 points each, like conformists. Wow, this is kind of strong if you really care about your ethics. But we want venerable space turtles. Solitary, slow breeding, venerable space turtles. That's what it is going to be. Our ruler. Well, we could get a random name, but this is dependent on the name list. We hadn't chosen yet, so I don't think so. Our homeworld name. Well, space turtles. I think turtles could come from like a tropical, a continental, or an ocean world. Arctic, not so much. Arid, tundra, desert, all not so much in my opinion. Maybe we will start with continental, even though it's really boring, but well, does this have any oceans? Okay, it does have vegetation, and it must have water somewhere. So maybe we do start with ocean. That means that we can never settle our primary species on desert worlds or arid worlds, because we will have an ocean preference, which means the habitability for ocean is the highest. Second highest are the ones next to it, in this case continental and Arctic, and then there's a slight chance that we can inhabit tropical or tundra planets. We won't be very happy on them, but we can inhabit them if we really need to. Yeah, that would work, I guess. The appearance of our cities. We can see a bigger picture here, so you don't have to choose from these ones. Although it's not that much bigger. Let's see, how does Reptilian look? A bit more modern than the normal mammalian, maybe, like rounder and stuff. This doesn't fit turtles, I think. Nah, this one would maybe work. It's kind of boring just choosing reptilian for a reptilian race, but on the other hand, it looks nice. The lagoon there. Oh well, this one it is. Okay, now we come to the hard choices. Our government. So, at the start of the game, our species members will have a certain set of ethics, and they can diverge from them, especially if they live on colonies far away. They will diverge from them. And if you remember, there was an option under the traits to have negative ethics divergence, but since we don't have that, these are not forever, but they are important to choose our government form. On the left hand side here are all the democracies. Then on the right hand side here are the dictatorships, and these ones here are kind of a middle ground between the two. Right now, where we don't have any traits selected, we can only choose from the bottom three. The top row is reserved for militarist societies. This row is only for the spiritualists. Then there is the opposite of spiritualists, materialists. You can't have both. These ones are reserved for materialist species. And then there's pacifists, which is also the opposite of militarists. So you can't have one of these and one of these as an option at the same time. You have to choose between them anyway, so it doesn't matter really. But if you want to be a military dictatorship, don't choose pacifist, because it will make it impossible to choose a military dictatorship. But what you could see here, when I chose pacifist, these ones lighted up, so they are possible for pacifists. Okay, 10% happiness flat is pretty good actually, because it makes the pops more productive if they are above a certain happiness threshold. Now, this one would be good. I mean, after all, we are all about the leaders. We have leaders who live forever, so we won't have to recruit them as often. So in my opinion, the leader recruitment cost reduction in this case is negligible, but the starting skill level is kind of nice. considering it will be a really bad hit for us if one of our 200 years old level 5 leaders dies. We might want to think about choosing this one, because if we have to recruit a new one, he or she will be level 2 at least. So, okay, this is just a little bit more energy credits and minerals. I'm not sure if this is only from pops or if this is no, this is an empire modifier, I think. If I understand this correctly, this should mean all energy credit sources and all mineral sources, so it's not bad. Despotic empire, well, it's kind of about slavery. I'm not sure we want to go the slavery route. Well, I mean, these space turtles live a very long time, so I don't really see them working to retirement age. I mean, that's a long ass time. Who wants to work 150 years before you can retire? I mean, holy shit. Let's see. If we choose militarist instead, we get the above choices here. The military republic. Well, militarists are happier during wars, and if they are in a republic, they are even more happy to go to war. But that doesn't sound like our space turtles anymore. Military junta, ship cost, ship upgrade cost. It's nice, but yeah. 20% naval capacity and the lowered ship upkeep to go with that. It's not bad. Also, each ruler can build an oversized ship. Only the ruler holds his dictatorship until his death, so our space turtles won't exactly die very often. So this would basically mean that during the multiplayer session I'd get to build this oversized ship once, and if it takes really, really long, maybe a second time. But yeah, it kind of doesn't fit the space turtles. Alright, what other choices do we have? If we go spiritualists, we have these here. Lowered ethics divergence, more core sector planets. I kind of like that, because I feel like I need to micromanage my planets to the extent that until they are almost fully developed, because I want to make sure that it's done right, basically. And this lets me do that because I can have up to 7 planets under my direct control before I have to give them to sectors. I like that. Theocratic oligarchy. Well, also lowered ethics divergence. That seems to be a thing with the spiritualists. Lowered leader recruitment cost is basically useless for us. Slavery tolerance and resettlement cost. That tomb monument building will not be a good thing for us again, because of dictatorship and living forever. But if we do want to become slave turtles, then this could be a real option for us. Maybe paired with xenophobia, because xenophobia lets us enslave aliens. If we are going to enslave people after all, we could rethink going for decadent, only we won't be fanatic collectivist and just enslave our own pops, but we would really eat the decadent debuff until we enslave another race. So we'd be a divine mandate, we'd be xenophobes, and spiritualists. So yeah, this just lets us enslave aliens basically, and it hurts our diplomacy with other species. It's not the strongest. This makes us a little bit happier. That's kind of okay. Yeah, well, I don't think this combination is too strong. I mean, it's cool, but let's see what our other options are first. Materialists. So we could be scientifically inclined turtles. They just get more physics, society, and engineering output. Notice how it says pop modifier. This is not our whole empire. This is just when our own pops work the labs on the planets. So the use of this is limited. It gives us the direct democracy, again with 2 more core sector planets. Democracies are kind of annoying actually, because they choose someone from your leader pool. So let's say you have like 5 scientists, 2 of them are scouting, like, yeah, surveying the map. 3 of them are working your 3 research departments. And you have a governor on your homeworld, maybe a governor on a colony. One of them is for like building food places and growing the colony. One is for building buildings, and you kind of don't have them just for fun. You have them for realsies, you know. You have 1 admiral for your fleet. You chose the best one ever. Yay! You're leveling him up. He finally gets to level 3, and they elect him as the new president. And he's gone. That's like he dies, basically. I mean, if they elect someone else for the next term, he comes back, or she comes back, but it's still annoying as fuck having your leaders just swooped from under you all the time. Science Directorate. This is strong. First of all, our leaders live forever. So if our leader capacity is higher, we get to level up 1 more guy earlier in anticipation of someone else dying maybe, or yeah, just more leaders. More leaders are useful, let's just say that. But the real cool thing about this is the +1 research alternatives. This is huge, because we will see research in this game works a bit different from others in that you don't see the technology tree, but rather you get dealt 3 cards, standard, and you have to choose which of these 3 research alternatives do I want to undertake. Like, you have 3 scientists working 3 different departments, but for each of these, once technology is finished, or if you decide to change it in between, you get 3 alternatives to choose from. And if we were a science directorate, we'd get 4. That's kind of good. They do re-elect them from time to time, but only every 40 to 50 years. That's okay. Yeah. So +1 research alternatives. We will have to keep that in mind. Despotic hegemony. Well, we'd be able to build an elite assault army about once in the game again, so not the most useful. We'd be better at scouting the map. Now, if we run into problems in between, and this will be a huge game with a lot of players, so it's quite possible that we get hemmed in early, we will maybe not be scouting for decades at end. So we'd have only the +5% research speed. Now, +5% research speed isn't bad. Not bad at all. but I think the research alternatives are more versatile for us. I mean, the research speed basically lets us choose more often because everything is finished earlier. But this gives us the chance to get the researches that appear not too often earlier. Yeah, in my opinion, this is stronger. If you go for specific research and you have to wait for it, you can't just decide I want this and just choose it. You have to wait for it to come around, and this makes it come around more often, so I really like it. Okay, our turtles will be materialists. Now, what else will they be? Whew. Okay, pacifists have more food and a +1 number of embassies. Now, the embassies are useless in multiplayer because the embassies just give you a relationship bonus with an empire, and in multiplayer you don't have relations to other players, you have real relations to them after all, so we don't need that. Still some nice debuffs there, but yeah, maybe not. Xenophobia and xenophilia are kind of void in multiplayer as well. Oh, and now that I remember that I'm choosing this for multiplayer, going for enslaving the other races maybe not the nicest idea. Collectivists would let us enslave our own people. Individualists would give us more ethics divergence, but also better energy credits. That's okay. Militarist makes alliances more expensive. This kind of sucks, because an alliance is expensive enough as is, actually. So with this we'd pay an extra influence point per month for maintaining an alliance, because normally it costs 2 influence, I think, and with militarist it costs 3. And the base influence gain is 3 per month. So maintaining one alliance will cost you all your influence in the early game. Now, later on you get tech choices to make more influence, and you can also rival people, but yeah. On the other hand, it's kind of common in multiplayer to just rival everybody and get as much influence as possible, I think, because the relationship penalty you get from rivaling someone doesn't really matter. So everyone is throwing insults around for funsies and rivaling everybody. So yeah, maybe. No, we can't be spiritual and materialist at the same time. What we can do is be fanatic about it. We can go +2 materialist and just have +10% physics, society and engineering output for our pops. So it's not as strong as it sounds. It's not +10% research, it's just 10% more research from the planets if a turtle works that tile. If we have guests from other species work it, for example, then that's void. So that's an option, but since being normal materialists already gave us the science directorate, it's not needed and it's kind of a wasted point. +10% food from our pops. No, this really doesn't. We can always go for role playing, you know, like our turtles. Maybe our turtles are individualists. I can see that, I mean, yeah. Notice how it changed the background? That's the scientist background, so if I am fanatic materialist, I will keep that one, but if I go individualist, I'd get another one, and now, yeah, the individualist background seems to be the stronger one, for whatever reason. So this will be our background for now. This doesn't change it, huh? Oh. Do we want to be pacifist or militarist? Do we want to be xenophiles? Well, this makes our pops like other species. It's kind of nice after all, because if our, well, for example, if we chose to freely migrate and we have allies and we make a migration agreement with them, so our species interchange, then our pops would be confronted with aliens on their planets, and this makes it so they don't mind as much. It's not a bad choice after all. Yeah, I'm thinking a long ass time about this. I'm sorry if this was boring, but I think a video about the creation of the empire is not a bad idea, because later on in the game you kind of wonder why, what is he talking about, what modifier, and here you get to choose where, you get to see when I choose them. Wow, the flag, that's not the most important thing, but on the other hand it will represent our race. Whoa, that's a lot of choices. Maybe something that looks like it has to do with the sea, but that's not easy. This is not even bad. Maybe I will just choose that one. Secondary color. Oh, so this is currently the primary color. No, it isn't. This one is. Okay. Yeah. I was thinking maybe they look good together, but you can't really see the difference at all. This kind of works. So our primary color is the red one. So our empire's terrain will look red on the galaxy map. And it has this nice violet accent to it. Yeah, I think I will keep that one. Now this is a more meaningful choice again. Our starting weapon types. So we can either use projectiles, which ignore shields but are countered by armor, or energy weapons, which kind of ignore armor but are countered by shields, or missiles, which hit all the time and have more range, but can be countered by point defense systems later on. So these two are both closer range, but that doesn't matter as much as it sounds right now. This just means you get to shoot one volley off before you get into the melee, and everyone shoots at everyone, so it's not huge, the range difference, in my opinion. Turtles, what would they use? Well, lasers, I guess, won't they? I mean, lasers look the coolest on, like, when you're playing. The thing is, about these weapons, we can always research the alternatives later on and switch it, but it's still an important choice. Now, if I want to make it really kind of hard on myself, I choose this one. It's quick, very quick, but it's limited to certain hyperspace lanes, and that's something I haven't tried out yet. It could be really bad in multiplayer because I'm playing against humans after all, and they are smart. They will block my my point of advance, and I will have to fight through it. So maybe hyperspace travel is not the best for multiplayer. I think I will have to try it out on my own, but not in the multiplayer game. Now, wormhole is super quick. You build up the wormhole and then you just jump there. Boom. But there's a limited range to your wormhole station, and the enemy can destroy your wormhole stations. So if you are advancing into the enemy territory, for example, he can cut you off by destroying your wormhole stations behind you and counter-attack you, and you can't defend against it. So he can then split his ships and blockade all your planets while you are stuck at one of his systems. I mean, you can do damage at that system, but you basically lost the war at that point. So this is always risky. You need to really keep an eye on your construction ships and your wormhole stations and build redundant systems. Warp travel is very standard, but yeah, it lets you go everywhere, but it's slower. But I think it kind of fits our turtles to just slowly crawl their way wherever they want to. How will our ships look? Well, there are reptilian ships, but I don't really like them very much. Which ones look like they could also go under the sea? Maybe these or these? Yeah, these ones. You know what? We are reptilian because we are turtles, but we are a seafaring race, and most of the mollusca, it's like snails and stuff, but also octopuses and other seafaring races. So I think a mollusca ship type is not bad for turtles. We still don't have the name. I said we have to go to the name list once we know what our empire is about. So just a quick reminder, we are xenophiles, we are individualists, we are materialists, and we just live forever, but we are solitary and slow breeding. Slow breeding will really suck at the start, by the way. Oh, and this is just minus 5% happiness. That's not very strong either. Okay. Name list. Genau. Name list. So, we want something that... Whew. What is our species name again? Netraxi. Okay. Should sound like, you know, a few X's in there. So this one is not bad. Yeah, I think I will go for this one. We will have to pronounce these funny names a lot because they are the names of our leaders, but yeah, and also these ones, which are the names of our planets. But it's nice. Yeah, it's even reptilian. Okay, our ship prefix. Well, that kind of depends on our empire name, in my opinion. Oh, our homeworld name. Okay. Okay, I thought it would just take something out of our name list, but I don't think it did it. But this one, maybe, yeah, this one works. So our species is named the Netraxi. Maybe like this. The Netraxi Consortium of Planets. Let me spell check consortium to be really sure, because that would be. Yeah, okay. It's spelled the same as in German, so it's right. Would have been embarrassing if I misspelled my own name and everybody sees it all the time. Okay, yeah. I guess this is it. This is our species for the multiplayer session. Oh no, we didn't choose the ruler yet. So Xas will be our first director, because we are a science directorate, so we are kind of like an university or something, and we have a director. Oh, this one is. Oh. I like the green. I also like the blue. Yeah, let's go with a. No, let's go with a blue one. And okay, he's not wearing clothes, is he? I don't see anything changing. Okay. Will it be a he or a she? Yeah, okay. Xas, the female director. Alright. Save.